Hello Year 2, today's learning point is can I name different habitats and the animals and plants that live there? So what is a habitat? A habitat is a natural environment that an animal lives in. A habitat provides animals with three important things: food, shelter, or another name for that is a home, and a safe place to raise their young or their babies. So you two, what we're going to do, we've got 5 different habitats set up here that you would find around the world. And we're going, over the next 2 weeks, we're going to compare these different habitats. So let's take a closer look. So here are our 5 habitats. Our first habitat is the jungle or tropical rainforest, which you would find in Africa, Central Africa. And the jungle is very hot and humid, and it does rain a lot there. The second one is the seashore and the sea. And you obviously find this all around the world. So it's pretty cold there, but the main factor is that a lot of it is found in the water. The third one are the polar regions, the North Pole, the South Pole, the Arctic, the Antarctic. It is freezing cold in these habitats, and there is a lot of ice. The fourth habitat we've got set up is the African Savannah, which are very, very dry and dusty and hot. And they're located in between the desert and the tropical rainforests in Africa. They do have a rainy season, but most of the year it's very dry and hot. And the fifth habitat we've got set up is a woodland that you'd find in Europe or in our country, in England. In woodlands, it tends to be quite dark, fairly damp, and depending on the season, cold or warmer. So the 2 habitats we're going to compare today are the savanna and the woodland. Let's start with the savanna. The savanna is found in Africa, and it's open grassland, and it's very big. It covers lots of space. It's very dry and hot there during most of the year. There is a wet season, but for most of the months it's very dry and hot. There isn't very many trees there, as you can see in the picture. So it's very open, and the animals would find it hard to hide from their predators. They're the animals who might capture them and kill them to eat them. So the sort of animals that you'd find in the savannah are elephants and giraffes. They're very big animals, and they do need lots of space to roam around. There are hippopotamuses, wildebeest, zebras, gazelles, and there are also lions and leopards and jaguars, who are the main predators in the savannah. As you can see with the zebra and the giraffe, they are very patterned on their fur, and this is to help them camouflage themselves against their predators. The elephant and the hippopotamus don't actually have much fur on their skin, and I think that's because it helps them keep cooler in the hot climate. So here are some of the animals that you might find in the savannah. If you want to find out more about the savannah, there is a link which I've posted underneath this video on the class playlist, and that will give you a lot more information about the savannah and the types of animals that live there. The second habitat we're going to look at today is woodland that you would find in Europe and especially in England where we live. So woodlands tend to be damp and dark places, and they're cold in the winter and warm in the summer. There's lots of undergrowth in the woodland, and so therefore animals can hide quite successfully away from their predators, the animals that might capture them and eat them. So what animals would you find in woodlands? Well, there's foxes, mice, rats, badgers, deer in some woodlands, lots of different kinds of birds, including owls, and also loads of insects. If you want to find out more, let's just take a look at a walk I've recently done in the woodland. Hi Year 2, as we're looking at habitats and we're thinking about woodlands and the savannah, I thought I'd come to a local woodland on my exercise, and I'm just going to have a quick look round to see what I can see. So Year 2, in this woodland here, it's likely that many animals live here. Badgers and foxes, mice, squirrels, and many birds, and a lot of insects under the ground. It's unlikely you'll see many of those during the day, because as you walk through the wood, you'll scare them off and they'll hide. But we can try and find some clues, which is what I'm going to do today. So a lot of the trees at this time of the year haven't got any leaves on them because it's the winter. Do you remember what these trees are called? They're called deciduous trees when they lose their leaves in winter. However, some trees are called evergreen trees, and there's one here I can spot. Do you know what this one's called? It's got green spiky leaves. Yes, that's right, that's called holly, and they keep their leaves all the year round. Now I can see something growing on this tree over here. I wonder if you know the name of it. This grows up trees, and it's called ivy. It's called a creeper, and this again is evergreen and stays. Oh, look what I've spotted. Can you see up there in that tree? That dark mass of sticks? What do you think that is? It's actually a nest for some kind of larger bird. I wonder which bird it is. I wonder if we'll see any birds. If you listen carefully, you can hear some birds singing. Now, even though it's winter and there aren't many leaves on the trees, this wood is still quite dark, and it's got lots of undergrowth, and it's quite damp as well. Look, I'll show you. Look, you can see it's on the leaves that there's sort of moisture, which is from rain, and the leaves are quite damp under there, look. So a wood is quite a dark, damp place. So over here, we've got an area, as you can see, that's sheltered, and under that lot of sticks and leaves is actually a hole. Now, it's very likely that either foxes or badgers live down that hole. I know I've seen badgers and foxes in this wood when I've been on evening walks when it's getting dark. So that's proof that we've got foxes or badgers that live here. Under here, this pile of leaves and wood, this is a really good habitat for hedgehogs to live in. Can you see the holes in this piece of wood here? That proves to us that there are insects that live in this old rotting wood. Now at this time of the year there are lots of brown dead leaves on the floor, but if you look carefully there are things growing up. Do you recognise this plant? In a couple of weeks it will have a lovely yellow flower on it. It's a daffodil. I'm sure you know what they look like. You can buy them in the shops at the moment. Look what's growing here. These lovely furry dangly things are actually called catkins, and they grow at this time of the year on one of the trees in this wood. Lovely, aren't they? Have you seen any catkins? On this tree here at the base you can see that there's some soft moss growing. Can you see the dead leaves around it? But the moss is bright green and really soft. You can also see some ivy there as well. Maybe on your daily exercise you could go to a local woodland, maybe this weekend or over half term, and have a look to see if you can see some different trees or plants and find out what lives in the woodland. So today we're going to be sorting these animals onto the correct picture. The left-hand picture shows the African Savannah grasslands, and the right picture shows a woodland in England. So I wonder, if you look at the pictures of the animals, which animals you think will go on each picture. I'm going to quickly sort them and I'll show you what I think. So I've sorted the animals. In the savannah I've got an elephant, a gazelle, a lion, a rhino, and also hippos live there as well, who look similar, zebras and giraffes. And in the woodland there's a deer, a rabbit, a badger, a hedgehog, some mice, and a rat, a squirrel and a fox. So for your activity year 2, what I'd like you to do is find these 3 sheets from your pack. One is called Which Animals Live in the African Savannah. One is called Which Animals Live in a Woodland, and one has a variety of different animals. What I'd like you to do is cut out the animals really carefully so you can't really see any of the white background, and then I'd like you to stick the correct animals into the correct habitat. Use the video that I've recorded for you to help you. Have fun